Guardians, the galaxy is shifting. On the 2nd of December, Bungie unleashes Renegades, a wild Star Wars-inspired expansion that promises to shake up everything you thought you knew about Destiny 2. New weapons, new modes, new alliances, but is it the rebirth the game needs, or just style over substance? Stay with me as we break it all down. Renegades is the second expansion of the Fate saga following earlier this year's Edge of Fate. It's not a small side story. Renegades introduces a full campaign, new ways to play, and big changes to how Destiny feels overall. On top of that, it's being styled as a Star Wars-inspired experience. Expect blaster-style guns, lightsaber-esque melee weapons, and a gritty underdog crew vibe. Bungie makes it clear this is not a literal Star Wars crossover. Even though the inspirations are obvious, everything remains canon to the Destiny universe. In practice, Guardians are stepping into the shoes of renegades, scrappy outlaws, mercenaries, or rebels in a rough new frontier. The core location for this region is known as the Lawless Frontier. There, crime syndicates clash and Guardians take on high-risk contracts, bounty hunts, smuggling runs, sabotage missions, all the shady job stuff. It's a big tonal shift from epic light versus darkness Destiny themes to a more gritty underworld style of play. The heart of Renegades is the new Lawless Frontier activity. This is Destiny's take on extraction shooters. You load into the Lawless Frontier from a holomap at the Tharsis outpost or through the portal and pick a destination and job type for either Mars, Europa, or Venus. Each job plays out on bespoke maps built to echo Star Wars style locations. Mars leans into Tatooine's desert vibes, Europa pulls from Hoth's frozen hell energy, and Venus goes full swampy Dagobah. Every run is framed as a job for one of three syndicates. Bounty hunts, where you chase a high-value target through layered encounters before a final showdown. Smuggle, where you're stealing specific loot and trying to move it through hostile territory without getting wiped. Sabotage, which is all about blowing up or disabling syndicate infrastructure, generators, comms arrays, vehicles while enemies try to pin you down. All of this plays out under extraction rules, limited revives, no passive health regen, an exfil phase at the end where you can call in your ship and hold out while enemies try to ruin your day. If you die before extracting, some rewards stay behind. If you survive, you open extra caches at the end and earn better loot. On top of that, there's an opt-in invasion mechanic. Certain Lawless Frontier jobs can be set to allow one-time attacks from another fireteam's Guardian to earn even greater loot. Your base of operations this time isn't the tower, it's the Tharsis Outpost, a new social hub built as a sketchy, half-legal black market port. This is where you report to the Drifter, mingle with syndicate reps, and set up your life as a semi-respectable criminal. From Tharsis, you'll be able to use a big holomap to launch Lawless Frontier jobs, pick planets, and toggle invasions. Interact with syndicate vendors who handle your reputation, reward tracks, and contracts. Access renegade abilities, weapon and armor vendors, and various seasonal and expansion systems all in one place. It's basically the helm for Star Wars flavored Destiny, but much more focused on this outlaw fantasy. You're not in a shining Vanguard hall, you're in a smoky dock full of smugglers, mercenaries, and people who definitely don't file taxes. The big mechanical shakeup is renegade abilities. These are expansion-specific powers that sit alongside your subclass and act like a custom toolkit for the Lawless Frontier and Renegades content. Renegade abilities are slotted in place of your grenade and melee in that content. You pick from a pool of 9 abilities and each one can be upgraded along 7 ranks via the syndicate reputation. These powers range from supportive to absolutely unhinged. Some are defensive, like deployable healing drones or cover tools that let your fireteam reset in the middle of chaos. Others are offensive, like orbital-style airstrikes, deployable turrets, or calling down the Behemoth, an AT-ST-inspired Barrent Imperium Walker you can pilot to stomp everything in range. Preview impressions are already calling that one borderline busted. The key detail is that these abilities are tied to Renegades content. Like Matterspark in Edge of Fate, you can't take them into older raids or legacy content. They are borrowed power tuned around the Lawless Frontier and the campaign. That means they can afford to be a bit wild without wrecking the rest of the game's balance. Instead of grinding a faceless bar at a seasonal vendor, you're building your name with 3 criminal factions: the Elixni Pikers, the Cabal Totality Division, and the Vex Tharsis Reformation. Each syndicate controls a slice of the Lawless Frontier and offers its own perks and cosmetic rewards. Each day you will pledge to one syndicate, then run jobs in the Lawless Frontier that push their influence. That choice feeds into a live turf war map, whose territory is expanding, who's losing ground, and what temporary bonuses are active. Your reputation and notoriety with each syndicate acts as an endgame progression lane. Ranking up unlocks renegade ability upgrades, armor and weapon drops, and contracts that pay out more aggressively. Over time, the idea is that you carve out your crew and build a guardian whose story is tied to the underworld politics of renegades, not just a seasonal checklist. On the loot side, the loudest toy in the room is the Praxic Blade. It's a kinetic slot exotic sword that behaves like Destiny's answer to a lightsaber without Bungie literally calling it that. It can reflect incoming fire, be thrown at enemies, and is customizable from the inspect screen, not via normal crafting. You can tune not just the visuals like crystal color, but also functionality, adding subclass verbs like weaken, jolt, scorch, or sever, so your sword combos plug straight into your build. Backing that up is an entirely new family of guns, often referred to as heat weapons or blasters. These weapons use an overheat or venting mechanic instead of normal reloading, and they have their own exclusive stats and mods. Early hands-on shows pistols, SMGs, and heavier rifles that lean into Star Wars audio and feel, giving Renegades a very different gunplay flavor without throwing out Destiny's core shooting model. Around this, there are multiple new exotic weapons and armor pieces, including things like Fortune's Favor, Praxic Vestment, Deimos Effusion, and others that tie into the new verbs, mobility tricks, or survivability tools designed for Lawless Frontier and higher-end PvE content. One of the biggest structural changes for the whole game, not just Renegades content, is the Orders system. Orders replace traditional daily and weekly bounties and seasonal challenges. Instead of running to half the vendors in the tower to grab a shopping list, you log in and the game just hands you a set of orders automatically, visible in the seasonal hub. As you play normally, you complete them in the background and earn XP, Bright Dust, and gear. Orders come in 3 tiers: common, legendary, and exotic. With difficulty and rewards scaling up, common orders churn constantly and give small Bright Dust payouts with a chance to upgrade into a legendary order. Legendary orders pay more and can occasionally lead to exotic orders, which are rarer, seasonal limited tasks with bigger payouts. Team play is baked in. Your fireteam's kills and actions contribute to your orders, and Crucible matches auto-complete a few orders just for playing. It's a quiet but important shift away from the old farming your own bounty progress while your teammate wipes the entire map. On top of regular orders, Renegades introduces Vanguard orders and alerts, which are basically Bungie's attempt to rebuild a proper weekly ritual layer. From the seasonal hub, you'll see a rotating weekly playlist and challenges spanning Vanguard-style activities, and the new 6-player arena ops, Crucible, and the new Renegades dungeon, and even older raids like the Desert Perpetual. Completing these alerts awards higher tier gear, seasonal weapons with special origin traits, and pinnacle drops if you tackle the Grandmaster variants. The goal is to make Destiny feel like an MMO again. Log in, check your weekly alerts, rally a fire team for dungeon or raid night, and actually have a reason to run that stuff beyond nostalgia. Is the connective tissue meant to tie Renegades Outlaws sandbox into the broader game? Renegades pushes Destiny into a part of its universe that's always been implied but rarely explored. You're not marching into a war for cosmic balance anymore, you're surviving in the cracks, the places where lore, morality, and the Vanguard's reach start to thin out. The central conflict still revolves around the Barrent Imperium, a breakaway Cabal faction trying to force their own empire onto the frontier. They bring brutal occupation walker deployments, forced labor camps, and mechanized war machines that don't care whether you're Elixni, human, or Vex. You're brought in through the Drifter, not as a hero, but as muscle. A guardian who knows how to handle dirty work. But the real twist is the ideological collision happening around you. The Praxic Order. Destiny's long-standing militant light purists absolutely hates everything renegades represent. Drifter's influence. Weaponry that blurs the line between light and power. Guardians working off the books for syndicates. Even the Praxic blade itself, despite the name, is a point of tension. It's a symbol of light used in the context the Praxic Order sees as compromised. They've always been the watchdogs of the light, and watching Guardians mix with smugglers and criminals sets their alarms off instantly. On the other side sits the shadow of Dredgen philosophy, the outlaw, morally flexible ethos that the Drifter has carried for years. Renegades doesn't make your Guardian a Dredgen outright, but the vibe is unmistakable. You're working in grey areas. You're taking jobs the Vanguard would politely pretend didn't exist. You're dealing with factions who respect strength more than virtue. And the Drifter's whole do what works, not what's righteous worldview colors every choice you make in the frontier. That's where the tone lands. You're caught between the Praxic's rigid purity and the Dredgen-type pragmatism that keeps people alive when rules fail. Renegades builds its story around that clash. It treats Guardians less like untouchable chosen ones and more like flawed, adaptable agents forced to navigate the spaces where the light doesn't come with clean instructions. It's scrappy, funny, dangerous, and morally messy. The closest Destiny has ever been to a full-blown outlaw drama with ghosts, supers, and a Drifter snickering in the background. Renegades drags Destiny out of its cosmic comfort zone and into the frontier. A place ruled by syndicates, mercenaries, and the Baron Temperian's iron grip. You're not a mythic savior out there, you're muscle. A Guardian taking the jobs nobody else will, right in the space between Praxic purity and the Drifter's Dredgen-flavored pragmatism. For players, it means Destiny finally leans into grit. Choices feel murkier, factions react to you. Power isn't just light-blessed, it's earned through dangerous work and sketchy alliances. Renegades gives you a world that pushes back, one where survival, loyalty, and reputation matter just as much as your subclass does. Renegades launches the 2nd of December. There's a standard edition, but the big draw is the Year of Prophecy Ultimate Edition, which bundles Renegades with the Edge of Fate, plus extra goodies, exclusive items like the Renegade Leader exotic ship, a special emblem, an exotic sniper rifle New Land Beyond with the ornament and catalyst, and the Dark Side Legends cosmetic bundle, an exotic sparrow, and more. For players who already own the standard or previous versions, there's also an upgrade path to unlock the extras. Renegades is a bold gamble. Bungie isn't just reworking sandbox numbers or dropping another raid, they're trying to reinvent the vibe. It's Destiny 2 as a spacier, darker criminal syndicate thriller with enough new toys to make even veterans perk up. If you're craving something fresh, a twist on the usual light versus darkness, a chance to carve out your own under-the-radar legend, Renegades might be the fresh air Destiny 2 needs. But if you play for lore-heavy storytelling or classic Guardian hero vibes, be ready for something grittier, more morally grey, and a bit out there. Pre-order is live now, so if you're getting stuck in, hit like and subscribe, Guardians. We'll see you on the frontier.